Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this exercise that I call the Alchemy of Purpose. It's in the beta stage. I was gonna send, you're gonna receive the document via email. Thanks for sharing your emails with me. And then I was gonna send another document, like a companion document, kind of going through it, but then I thought, I want to see your face, or like, you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm just gonna walk through. If you have the other document with you, that's awesome. But I'm just gonna walk through the steps and kind of give you some ideas. So hopefully this will be about 5 minutes. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Okay, so the Alchemy of Purpose exercise is designed on my belief, maybe yours, but my belief that we are all uniquely designed for a purpose in this world. And some people's purposes are huge and some people's purposes are not as huge. Some people's purposes have worldwide scale, some people have company scale, some people have family scale, friend scale. It's like it varies, right? However, I designed this exercise because I was tired of being promised that people, like, I would do X, Y, and Z and I'd have my purpose. The worst one was, you want to find your purpose? Meditate more. No, thank you. No, I don't want to. Anyway, and I always thought, oh, this book is going to help me, or this book is going to help me. And some of them gave me ideas, but none of them ever really put it together. So I'm hoping that this particular exercise will draw out from me and you and whoever does it, any other ideas that, other insights into their purpose. Okay, so the first thing on the list is, so what you're going to do is you're going to list the things under each category. So we'll start with the first category is education. So this is your traditional institutional learning, right? High school, college, university, whatever you did, and whatever vein you were in. So like, in high school, unsurprisingly, I did music and drama, right? So I would write high school with a heavy emphasis on music and drama, right? College, I went to college. I have a diploma in massage therapy, right? So that's your education is your actual institutional learning. I'm realizing this is going to be longer than 5 minutes, and hang in there. Second is the training. Second is your training. So this is learning that you received outside of a traditional institutional learning environment. So for instance, like workshops or on-the-job training, I'll give you examples. Outside of my institutional learning, I trained at Second City. I did improv at Second City. So that would be another one of my trainings. As a massage therapist, I trained doing workshops, like stretching workshops, or I trained to be a Zumba instructor. So that's another different kind of training, right? Any kind of body work. I did leadership training seminars. I did seminars, so that's your training. So your training are all those things that you did outside of traditional educational learning. Number 3 is your skills. So your skills are those things that you have garnered from your training or your education or your jobs, right? So for instance, I gave the example, one of my trainings is improv. Out of improv, some of the skills from that are conflict resolution. No kidding, I'm serious, conflict resolution. Brainstorming, and teamwork, of course, right? So those are all skills that I have garnered out of the training that I did. Education, so I'm a massage therapist, or I was a massage therapist for a long time. From that, I learned how to listen, right? My leadership training helped me to become a good listener, helped me to one of my skills is seeing a different perspective on things. So instead of being like in the middle of it and in the middle of the emotion and just seeing my side, I'm able, when I want to take a step back and see a different perspective. Also for my for my improv training, one of my skills is making people laugh and bringing joy, right, to a certain situation. So that is skills. Now, this is where you can start to involve other people that you know and love and trust. You can ask them, what are some skills that you see I have, right? And write those down, because here's the thing with this, there's only so much that you can do by yourself. I mean, you can do the whole thing by yourself if you choose to, and that's totally cool. But I encourage you to talk to other people, because sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, and we don't see those magical, amazing things that we do for other people because we're not on the receiving end of it. So this is where, start asking other people in your life that you know and that you trust. What are some of my skills? Don't limit it. Don't say, what are my top 3 skills? Because then that has it or just start a conversation about skills and have the conversation flow. Anyway, okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, interests. What are your interests? What do you do in your free time? Do you have a bookshelf? I have a book. Oh, you can't even see the bookshelf. Okay, I have a bookshelf. This is one of my many bookshelves. What kind of books are your bookshelf? That bookshelf is full of books about spirituality. Dead people, energy work, right? That's an interest of mine. Also, I've done one of my skills, energy work, because I've done workshops about that. Interests, for instance, like I said, one of my interests, spirituality, space, the final frontier, sci-fi, art, writing, dance, music. These are some of my interests. So write down your interests. Write down those things that you like to do in your free time. A good way, and a good way to look at it is do you read books? What are those books about? Do you read magazines? Does anybody read magazines anymore? Anyway, do you get magazines? What kind of magazines do you get? What do you like to read? What TV shows do you like to watch? What articles, grab your attention when you're scrolling through Facebook or the news, whatever. Okay, so that's 4. Number 5, this is passions. So when we talk about what are your passions, I'm not talking about one of my passions is Chris Evans. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about passions. What lights you up? So these may be related to your interests, or probably related to your interests. They may be related to one of your skill sets. But when you think about passion, it's what's that thing that you could do for hours at a time, and when you're done, you're rejuvenated or you're excited. I mean, you could do it all day and you could get tired, but you could still get up the next day and do it all again. It's what's that thing? What are some of those things that you do where, you talk about, sports people talk about being in the zone, right? Elite athletes talk about being in the zone. What are you doing when you feel like you're in the zone, right? For me, as an example, sometimes I can sit down and I can just start writing, and it's I'm just going. And I'm in the zone. I lose track of time. I don't care about time, and when I'm done, I'm so excited. So it's those are your passions. Those are the things that they just, I just want to do that, right? That's a passion. Now the last one is your truths. So this one is a little bit more, I want to say whimsical, but when we talk about truths, there are some things in life that we just know to be true about ourselves. And the best way for me to describe this to you is to give you an example. One of my truths is community. People coming together for a common cause. Always every single time. And the first time I noticed it was when I was watching MacGyver, but like the old MacGyver, like the MacGyver from the 90s, and the construction people and the Amish people came together to save the two kids who were stuck in the well together. Every single time I watch that episode, I cry, I get teary-eyed, because it's like, and it's the community that is one of my truths. It's embedded in who I am as a person. Another one for me is joy. One of my truths is joy. Doing things that bring joy to my life, doing things that bring joy to other people's lives. That is a truth for me. I believe that joy is integral to life. And that's a truth. That's like those things that are integral into your life, right? Another thing for me, another example is integrity. And I'm not talking about integrity like, show up on time. I shouldn't say that, because people that I know who know me are watching this, and they know that time is kind of whimsical for me on occasion. But when I say integrity, I mean being your word. And, like the buck stops here. If I make a mistake, I own up to that mistake. The buck stops here. It's like, that's, for me, that's a big part of integrity. And it's living my life, or doing those things that are in alignment with who I am, and don't kind of rub me the wrong way. Like your truth, the basis of your truth, you'll be able to find when you do things that rub you the wrong way, right? When you're doing something and you're like, this does not feel right or cool, like something's off about this. There is a truth there for you to look into. So I hope that helps. I hope that is, so truth is a little more vague, right? But you know them when you come across them. You know them when you say them out loud. You know them, you will know them when you come up against them. So now this exercise to go through the Alchemy of Purpose exercise, it's going to take some thought and some time. So it's not one of those exercises. I mean, you can sit down and write this all out in like 20 minutes if you want to, if you choose to. Absolutely. And I'm not saying do this how you must do this. Because remember, this exercise, the idea of the Alchemy of Purpose, is in the beta stage, which means so I'm like sussing it out, and you are helping me to do that, and thank you so much for that. But this is something that's going to take some time. So like you might want to like work on a couple areas of it, and then set it aside and come back to it, or have some conversations with people and come back to it. But it works best if you really give it some time and you really give it some thought. So you really think about it. I encourage you to involve others in this process, because they'll see things about you that you don't see about yourself. And that's key. So any questions or comments, feedback, please reach out to me. Reach out to me anyway. I don't necessarily want to so here's the other thing. Because it is the beta stage, at the end of this, you're going to have a bunch of information. And I know you're thinking, great, so I have all this information. What does that mean? To be honest, I haven't gotten there yet. But I'm hoping it will I'm hoping as this goes on, there'll be some more clarity. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Thank you for watching this video. And any questions, comments, feedback, only the good feedback though. I'm kidding. Give me all the feedback. Reach out to me, because I really want to know what you think about this. I want to know if this had some value for you, and if it didn't have a value for you, what aspects did, what aspects didn't, and let me know. And again, thank you so